Thank you so much for joining us. So this is part 2 of our webinar series where we're going to discuss about the digital solution for poultry production. So the first part, if any of you missed it and would like to have access to the recording, please just enter your email or just say yes in the Q&A section, in the chat section of this meeting, and I'll be happy to share that. But the first part concentrated on looking at the overall digital solution and why adoption of such technologies is so difficult in the poultry industry. And today we're going to talk with Casper about the different opportunities that he sees with using artificial intelligence and digital solution for poultry. So what are some of the real concrete examples or benefits that the industry would gain from embracing those kinds of technologies? So this is a live interaction. We want this to be as valuable as possible to you. So you can raise your hand to ask a question, or you can just use the Q&A, sorry, to just put in your question, and we'll take them as much as we can. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome Casper Tribler. So Casper, welcome.
Thank you, Caroline. It's great to be back again and follow up on the first webinar. And so the topic today is, of course, also quite exciting, but definitely also in a challenging part of our industry to basically help each other to make technology more accessible and make the implementations more successful. So I look forward to talk about it today.
Excellent. So let's dive in right now. So with your experience and your background in using digital solutions to address optimization challenges in various industries, can you tell us what are some of the main problems in poultry production that you feel would greatly benefit from using digital solutions?
Yeah, definitely. So just again, as an overall note, and also based on the first webinar, I'd just like to stress that it's really key for success of digital solutions that we first and foremost make sure that the customer is digital ready for such solutions, and that we focus on solving problems that match the customer's digital leadership level and basically also their digital infrastructure. So when we continue this webinar, we talk about solutions. I think it's always important to make sure that everything is leveled. So whatever we implement has a good chance for to be successful, but also to be used after implementation. But basically, when we're looking into technology and what it can improve, I think to use a broad term, I think I like to focus on improving animal welfare, and simply because we by with providing livestock with the best living conditions, we know they perform better. So it's all about animal welfare, and it's obviously important for the farmers, but we also know it's important for retailers and consumers as well. And a lot of the integration of IoT sensors can be used throughout the poultry production value chain for producers to continuously monitoring animal welfare and proactively address whatever they might see of issues in the production. So it does actually increase the chicken's ability to perform, but it also contributes to overall sustainability of this industry. And this is what actually the technology today allows us to do. But I know that it's not exactly what is happening all over the industry, but this is this technology is mature and can be used today to do exactly that. But to be a bit more concrete, I would say we all know about monitoring environmental factors. We all know about temperature, humidity sensors, and we can monitor easily air quality like CO2 and ammonia levels. static pressure, and I mean, if we want to, we can even monitor the lighting settings as well in a barn house and make sure that we create a comfortable and healthy environment for chicken, and thereby detect early signs of diseases as well as track the spread in real time. Again, there's a lot of benefits that we can reap, and I'm aware that we're not doing all that today as much as we could, but this is what technology is about, and technology adoption can really add a lot of values. But also a lot of new sensors are coming constantly. Infrared thermal sensors can be used to, of course, see the temperature on the surface, which can be valuable to check the litter quality, for example, or the well-being of chicken. So that's very valuable maybe in the brooding phase to make sure that bedding has a certain temperature, as well as we can measure felt temperature, because the temperature that is measured in the barn house is not necessarily, even that it looks good in our online systems, it might actually not be the right felt temperature. We know that as human beings as well. So that's new sensors can help us with looking in a different way at temperature, for example. Another sensor that is not used a lot, but I think has a huge potential is acoustic monitoring, of basically looking for analyzing sounds, detect distress calls. Yeah, and changing in vocal patterns, which is also something that is we know from studies can pick up on health and welfare concerns. And AI technology is quite evolved today, so analyzing sound is not such a big issue as it was just 5-10 years ago. So this is definitely an opportunity. I'll just mention the last one is with video cameras. We have talked about that for a long time. I haven't really seen any solid solution yet, but I think it's coming soon, because it really have a tremendous opportunity to monitor bird behavior and movement and activity levels to see if even if there's feather pecking or grouping, if the environment is too cold and things like this. So there's a lot of use cases, a lot of based on technology that is available for us today, and I think we're going to see a lot of that in the near future.
Yeah, it does seem that like the sensor side of the collection side of it is becoming increasingly richer as the industry matures towards these digital solutions. So it's certainly interesting to see where these sensors are going to go. Can you give us other real life or concrete example of applying AI and technology to poultry production?
Now, I think it's always important for us to look into feed. So the improving feed efficiency is critical for all farmers, because we know it's such a big portion of the cost of poultry production today. So and here we also have sensors, feed sensors and bin scales that can help us monitor feed consumption. And with the help of also AI models, it's quite easy to automate and track feed consumption, optimizing logistics, for example, or improving feed efficiency by making sure you don't run out of feed, understanding how much feed do you need until slaughter date, things like this. Make sure you don't have too much feed left when production is over, and the house has to go and be empty for some time, and so there is definitely a big opportunity there as well, and the technology is already there. And here I would say also you already have solutions in the market that are doing quite a good job at that.
Yeah, I think that the biggest challenge that the industry can benefit on the short term would seem to be more operational, optimizing the processes and the flow of data between the different parts of the value chain, but once that is clear, I think that's where we can get into the next level of unlocking benefits. And I know that you, before coming into your new position, you have been using artificial intelligence and machine learning for various industries, and especially for agriculture. So in your previous position with Seekis, you were acting almost like a consultant to the various portion of the agricultural productions. Can you talk to us about your experience, using AI to drive value for producers?
Yeah, it's one of those areas I absolutely love working with, and it's something that has evolved over the last 6-7 years. I think also as the technology has evolved, and my experience with AI solution is that's probably not two that are the same. And you really, it's a bumpy road to basically you learn by doing, and it's quite agile, and it's quite can be quite brutal. But it's definitely also a lot of fun. But I think today we can focus maybe a little bit more on how it is to work with AI solution from a product management perspective. Because we could probably do another webinar about how to actually build a data science team and how to actually build an AI platform, because that's a whole other ball game, and everything, of course, is connected. But I've worked with just a few solutions, like we've been analyzing satellite pictures for crop farming, or we're working a lot with genetics in Seekis, which was also used to basically within cattle and swine, a little bit like Aviagen, and we've been predicting the slaughter weight and all kind of other things with AI models. But one of the first things I learned, and also learned the hard way, and was basically that it's very, very, it can be quite hard to beat the farmer. I think, and that's what I love about AI. I mean, it's a tremendous tool, but it cannot fix everything. And we shouldn't underestimate the power of human beings with our 5 senses. And being in a barn house, we can actually outperform an AI model. So building, I would say, successful AI models does require that we work closely with the people with domain expertise. So that be farm manager, or people that are in the field and live and breathe the daily work, and work together with them, because that is the key to basically make any AI model you could say work as well as or better than we would otherwise do. Because when you're working with AI, you cannot predict anything that hasn't happened already. So if you don't understand how the real world works, then it's very difficult to get you to create a very successful AI model. So the worst thing you can do, just I would say, don't hire a bunch of data scientists and let them loose, and to build some sort of successful commercial AI model. That is definitely the road to failure. And but you'll be surprised how many that are actually doing that still today.
Yeah. The thing is I think that many suppliers forget that when you're talking about machine learning, the teaching part is actually done by humans that know what they're talking about, that know how to read the data. That's how the machine will learn eventually. So you still need that human factor. You're absolutely right. What would be some of the more complex opportunities that you have seen, where you've actually started to drill down to and work with a customer, maybe on a longer term, to drive value?
I think when I'm looking for opportunities if I put my product management hat on and I want to create a successful AI model that creates a lot of value for the customer, then I look for complexity. And and this is where AI is strong, because it if you find an area where there's challenges, problems with a high degree on uncertainty, there's a lot of dependencies, relationships, interactions between people, or automated documents, of course, which can impact the outcome. So you have a lot of uncertainty that makes it difficult for human beings to basically overview or come to a fast or correct result. This is the kind of areas where you would like to apply AI, where it does add additional value. It doesn't mean that it cannot and easily can replicate simple processes, but then the value is not really that much there. So so basically, if you can find something there where the AI can complete the task of the farmer faster with a greater certainty, then the AI model has the possibility to save the farmer some cost, or make the farm more money by the end of the day, and that's what it's all about. But it basically comes down to solve complex solutions, and then by the end of the day bring obviously actionable insights to the farmer. I mean, say, okay, this is the challenge. This is hopefully also an indication of what the solution would be.
I get also, I mean, the complexity of the question that you need to ask, and really hoping that the machine will be smarter than the humans around the table asking that question is essential. But a lot of producers that I talk with just feel that it's way too complicated. I mean, it's kind of obscure. So it is, has that been your experience, where it's been this thing that happens and it's a bunch of data scientists and it doesn't relate to the person or to the producer on a day-to-day basis?
There is a disconnect, I think, and when I've talked to growers and integrators, then they're not really that excited about AI or technology. They just want us to solve their problems, and this, I guess, is the same when I buy a car, and I do love to drive a nice car, but it's not like I'm asking all the questions about what's under the hood. I just want it to be safe and drive me from A to B by the end of the day. And I think this is a little bit of the same that we'll seeing with AI when talking to customers. My main challenge has been working with the employees. I mean, I've had the pleasure of hiring some really amazing data scientists with PhDs, and coming in and have been studying star formations, or have been doing AI projects on frogs, and I don't know what, all kind of crazy stuff. But that's when you get this melting pot of different talent and get them to work together, they can do wonders. But the challenge is actually that they are so excited about doing data science and AI that they sometimes forget that it's not about creating the most advanced model. I've always told them that it's fine that you can do this advanced model, but what if we could actually solve some of those challenges just with mathematics or statistics? We should do that. We should actually always try to find the most simple way to get to the result, and that also means that sometimes, if it's good enough, you can remove data points from the AI model. It might decrease the accuracy with a little bit, but if it's still good enough, you should do that, because by the end of the day, it means it's much easier to implement for the customer. We need less data, and it will benefit everyone. So I think we should keep things simple and not be blindsided by technology. But it's easier said than done if you have some employees that are more than excited. But I think this is our job to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's it. I totally agree. So, but I'm assuming, and we want this webinar to be educative also to the attendees. Can you run us through the steps? So if you have a producer that comes to you, he's got a good question, it's a complex one, something, that AI would be perfect to apply to. what would be the steps to getting some value? You know, is it time consuming? Run us through the steps.
If it's related to AI, I think most of all, when we talk about technology adoption, I think it's important to focus on what do we want to solve rather than how we're going to solve it. So and I mean that from a technology point of view, because I don't think it's necessarily important that we always push for AI if we can do things simple. So it always takes the foundation of the domain expertise, understanding the life of the farmer. What is the true problem? What is the user story? Basically, what do we need to solve? And after that, we will basically look into how to apply these solutions. But I think what's happening under the hood, the customer would never really know. So I'll give you an example. Early on we were working on actually with a camera to measure the weight of chicken and predicting the slaughter weight in one solution, basically taking out so you don't need a bird scale or chicken bird scale anymore, and everything is integrated. But the customer would just know that we're working with AI, but in reality, we're working with many models, and that's what's happening in most cases. When you are having a solution for AI, it's not just one model. The example with the slaughter weight prediction tool, we had one model just to identify what is a chicken on the picture that the camera took. Because maybe it was actually the bird scale or it was something else. So you need a model just for that. Just say, okay, this is actually a chicken. Then we had another model where we outlined those chicken we have identified. So we actually had this model that was just drawing the outline of those chicken that was on the picture, so we could calculate all the pixels within that outline. And the reason why we needed to calculate the pixels, because we needed that number of pixels to convert that in by using another AI model to a real-time weight of that specific chicken. The brilliant thing was, of course, that with a camera you could have maybe 10, 20, 30 chicken on that one picture, and then you had 30 measurements in the same time. But then when you have all these measurements, then you still haven't really predicted what the weight is going to be on slaughter date. So then you need a fourth model to do that. So that's what we then created. So by training that on slaughter data on real time up against real time measurements. And it just keeps going on and on before you have a solution, because what we also experience is that when you put the camera up, the lighting conditions are quite different from customer to customer, and that meant that we then said, okay, we actually need to have infrared cameras to be able to actually pick up because otherwise the camera couldn't see what was going on. It was too dark. And we could improve it also by using 3D. But every time you add another layer to it, you need to basically adjust the AI models. And then, of course, you take into consideration what kind of genetic it is and stuff like that. And finally, we also know that some parts of a farm doesn't perform as well as another one. So we actually adjusted models on house level. So you see something that is quite, you can say in one sentence, let's predict the slaughter weight with a camera solution by using AI, actually ended up having like maybe say 7, 8, 9 AI models before you know it. And varies very good. So this is what is so exciting, right? But it also means that there's a lot of things going on under the hood. And if you know the process, you can kind of take that into consideration from the beginning. But if you don't, and that in this case here we learned by doing, and there was days where it was rather painful, but there was also, of course, days that was amazing. So that's part of the game.
And it does sound complicated, but I guess when you're in it, then you break it down into smaller pieces. I mean, the way you explained it, you obviously have to identify the chickens before you can actually weigh them on the
Yeah.
picture. So totally makes sense. If you you had one advice for let's say a producer or a company looking to start diving into AI models that with the help of a supplier or by themselves. I know that there are companies that are investing in their IT department to make sure that they can have that capability in the future, you know, to explore. What would be some of the pitfalls that you would warn them against?
I think in general, when we look at data, and it doesn't matter if we look to historic data or live data or predicting the future with AI models, it's of course we always want to try to find out, can we produce some actionable insights, so something that can data that can tell us the truth and help us to take a decision. But there is a huge risk if you are making shortcuts that AI models or basic business intelligence even can present you with like false conclusions, which will be a disaster for your decision-making process. So,
that's great.
And that does happen, right? And just to give you an example, what I mean is that if you Google ice cream sales and shark attacks, you will find out there is a very strong correlation. And but we all know that just because you eat ice cream, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a higher risk of being attacked by a shark as such. I mean, these things as such as not necessarily related, but it's what you call a confounding variable, and that's the temperature. Because what is happening is, of course, the warmer the temperature is, they cause the ice cream sales to go up, and at the same time, it means the warmer it is, more people go to the beach. But these things are not in true really correlated. There's not a causation here. So but of course, when people go to the beach, there's a higher risk of being attacked by a shark. So the common response here is the temperature, but it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with each other. And this is I think we can be super excited, and I am personally very excited about AI and data science and everything that comes with data. That's what I've always been working with. But I'm also very cautious that you have to have respect that I mean, you should also be a bit skeptic, because you can also experience that you get data for temperature or about feed ingredients that you might interpret that will not be good for had a bad result, but it actually might be good. And the same way, even we can analyze farm managers today and match it up against feed conversion rates and link that to a farm manager's performance, right? And if we are looking at a confounding variable that doesn't have the causation, but it looks like it's correlated, it can have terrible consequences. So this is that would be my biggest, recommendation is to be, just be cautious and also use common sense. And sometimes it's worth, especially if there's a lot, if a decision is very important based on this information, make sure you double check that everything is okay.
Well, I've learned something, and now I'm happy to hear that there is no causation effect between ice cream and shark attacks because I am a big ice cream consumer. So the webinar was scheduled for 30 minutes. We do have time